We start our trekking journey from Lukla, but to get to this point, it takes several days as we fly into the capital Kathmandu, travel by bus to the small airport in Ramechhap through dangerous mountain roads, but due to poor visibility, flights are cancelled, so we pay extra for a helicopter to our starting point so that we can keep on schedule. Luckily, getting the last chopper of the day, we start our trek at 2,650 meters, just below Lukla's airport. Our destination is Pak Ding, with a similar altitude of 2,600 meters. With the group excited, we start our short 3-hour trek in twilight and foggy conditions, before turning on the head torches and crossing the first of what will be many high-suspension bridges on this trek, as we eventually get to our first tea house at the end of our first trekking day. We start day 2 early as our destination is Namche Bazaar, sitting at an altitude of 3,440 meters. We have a serious climb through beautiful pine forests and north up the valley of Benkar, before trekking along the banks of the Dud Kosi and cross fast-flowing rivers over scaringly high suspension bridges shared by mules in transporting goods up the mountains. As we enter the Sagamartha National Park, we see the Hillary Bridge, and for those wanting a bit more adventure, you can bungee jump from the bridge over the river underneath. From here, we climb further until we reach Namche Bazaar, the gateway to the Khumbu region and the capital city of the Sherpas. We also managed to sneak in a cheeky pint at the Irish bar. Day 3, we use as an acclimatization day. As we are over 3,000 meters, it is recommended we don't sleep much higher than an additional 500 meters each day due to risk of high-altitude sickness or the more severe risk of high-altitude pulmonary edema. To combat this, we hike to a higher altitude during the day and come back down to sleep at a lower altitude to help our bodies acclimatize quicker. We start by going up a few hundred meters to the Sagamarth Next Art Museum, ran by a local organization that aims to educate visitors about the impact of the increasing amounts of trash by visitors to the region, but also makes artwork from it, which is on display, some of which can be bought. We then head back down to Namche and visit the Sherpa Museum, where we discover our main guide, Deshambo, has summited Everest 13 times and has his own plaque in the museum. In the afternoon, we have free time to explore Namche's shops and cafes before spending a second night here. Day 4, we head out trekking towards Dole at an altitude of 4,035 meters. Refreshed from our time in Namche Bazaar, we set out for a stunning, hilly, and wonderfully varied day, which takes us off the main base camp trail and towards Gokyo. This is the first day that we have clear blue skies and catch our first distant glimpse of Mount Everest. As we then descend in a series of steep switchbacks down a sandy slope to the Dush Koshi Fortsi Thanga, after which it is an uphill climb to Dole. Walking on a trail through forests, we pass a waterfall before reaching Tongba village. We continue uphill a bit further to reach Dole and our tea house for the night. Day 5 is an easier and shorter day, following the previous day's efforts. It starts with a bit of snow, but it quickly clears to blue sky again. A short climb out of the Dole Valley leads to vast views of the Himalayan giants. We gently trek uphill past Labarma and Luza villages before reaching Makhermo at an altitude of 4,410 meters. The afternoon sees most of the group do an acclimatization walk so far up Makhermo Peak to about 4,700 meters before heading back down to the tea house for the night. Day 6 starts on a negative note, as one of the group has come down with gastric issues, feeling weak and vomiting. They need to be airlifted down to hospital for immediate medical attention. The rest of the group, although feeling down, make our way up to the Gokyo region, famous for its sky blue lakes. We begin by climbing a ridge for an excellent view down the valley to Kangtaiga as we descend to the riverbank before climbing yet again. The trail levels out as it follows the valley passing the first lake, known as Longpongo, at 4,690 meters. At the site of the second lake, Taboche Tisho, we're mesmerized by the shimmering turquoise blue sheet of water sparkling in the sun. Gokyo village stands by the third lake, and Cho-Oyu Mountain as a backdrop sets a spectacular view. Day 7 is another acclimatization day, so we will stay in Gokyo again tonight. However, 2 people in the group, which are struggling with the altitude and pace, decide to track back to a lower altitude in Dole, hoping to relieve some of the symptoms and take an easier route to base camp. The rest set off early to summit Gokyo-ri at 5,357 meters. Climbing to the top is fairly demanding, but the scenery of Gokyo village, on the edge of the third lake and the broad Nogzumpa Glacier, is magnificent. We are surrounded by panoramic mountains, and is another chance to see Mount Everest from a distance. Day 8 consists of trekking over the world's largest glacier in Gazumpa to reach Thagnak at a slightly lower altitude of 4,700 meters. However, we are informed one of our team in Dole got worse overnight and was due to be airlifted to hospital for emergency medical treatment, which concerns us all. The walk over the glacier has lots of short, sharp ascents and descents with route finding involved as we move between ice pockets. We'll climb out of the glacier and traverse along the edge of a mountain before meandering into Thagnak. This short trek allows us to rest for the big day ahead and get an update on our team member who had high-altitude sickness and had been diagnosed with high-altitude pulmonary edema, which could have been fatal had he not been airlifted off the mountain that day. Day 9 was our earliest start, setting off in the dark at 5 a.m., with temperatures starting at -19 degrees Celsius. This was a relentless cold uphill battle through the Chola Pass to an altitude of 5,420 meters. This would be the second highest point of our whole trek. We descent with micro crampons through the thick snow on the way to a tea house in Zongla at 4,900 meters. Day 10. Our destination was Gorak Shep with an altitude of 5,190 meters. We climbed down from Zongla and walked through a grassy trail while enjoying the view of Labush Peak. The trail curves through a wide riverbed before rejoining the main trail and reaching Labush village for lunch. The afternoon sees us wind our way through the terminal moraine of the Khumbu Glacier to our tea house at Gorak Shep. This was the original base camp used by Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay on their successful ascent of Everest, before the base camp moved closer to the mountain on the edge of the Khumbu icefall. Day 11, early from Gorak Shep we ascend Kalapathar summiting at 5,550 meters and are rewarded for our efforts with unbeatable views. From this lofty perch we can clearly see the summit of Mount Everest, Nuptse, Lhotse, and Amadablam. This is simply an amazing panorama, and we rest here for a while before descending towards Everest base camp. Our guide tries a shortcut, but it backfires, resulting in extra mileage for our already oxygen-depleted bodies. Eventually, after passing through rocky dunes and streams, we make it to base camp, under the beaming sun, at an altitude of 53 and 64 meters. The oxygen level here is about 50% to that at sea level. We get to the famous base camp rock. We take photos for the various charities we have been raising money for, and have a moment to take in the views of the Khumbu icefall and the satisfaction of reaching our goal. We eventually return to Gorak Shep for the night, knowing from now on, we are heading home. Day 12 and our aim is to descend to Pangboche at 3,950 meters, so we say goodbye to Everest. And on the descent, we take some time at the Everest Memorial, built to commemorate the climbers who have died on Everest. It's a somber but beautiful stop. After lunch, we also say goodbye to 2 team members and 2 guides who plan to summit Island Peak, which sits at 6,165 meters as the remainder of us descend further to Pangboche for the night. The aim of day 13 is to get back to Namche Bazaar, sitting at 3,400 meters. We trek down through the hillside blanketed by trees. After crossing the prayer flag-covered bridge over the Dud Koshi River up to Tengboche Monastery, the trail follows the Dud Koshi Gorge, descending rapidly through pine forests, before ascending back up to Sansa, and where we first saw Mount Everest going up. We reach Namche, where we meet up with a member of the group we hadn't seen since day 7, when she turned back from Gokyo to find an alternate route. In the end, she got a horse to Namche to recuperate. We arrived early afternoon as we treat ourselves with warm showers, then celebrate in the Irish bar for the rest of the day, which includes the world's highest pool table. Day 14 is our last official trekking day. We need to descend to Lukla at 2,800 meters, ready for an early morning flight the following day. This last trek is a huge one, as we will be crossing 9 suspension bridges and covering a lot of distance. Back through pine forests, we take in the last of the picturesque views until we reach Lukla, as one of our group couldn't resist one last horse ride to reach the end. The following day, we fly out of Lukla in the most surreal example of organized chaos I have ever witnessed. The flight experience is amazing, taking off from the side of a mountain, through the valley and back to Ramachap in under 20 minutes. From here, we have a bus taking us on the long journey back to Kathmandu, but we take the shorter route, where the roads had been destroyed with record-breaking rainfall the previous month, but are now back open, kind of. As our journey ends, we say our goodbyes and fly home over the following days with memories that will last a lifetime,